Hey folks, welcome back. This is the Forrest Wilson Experience. I'm excited and honored and grateful to have you here for this recording with my guest today, Jillian Kelly. Hey Jilly, welcome.
Mm. Hello. It's so beautiful to be here with such a precious person. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got a fun exploration for today. Um, if anyone is on audio only, Jillian's got a bunch of her artwork in the background of our video right now, which you can see on YouTube, and I'll also post some photos of her art with the podcast posting on social media and things. And I'm naming that because Jilly, you're an artist and you do transformational art and art for people who are going through and have gone through transformational processes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to talk about transformational art and art for people who are going through transformation. And also, this is a first for me, but you and I have done some coaching work together. We did earlier this
Mm-hmm.
year. Uh, you and I did a month-long coaching container where was supporting you, and which ultimately emerged an offer that you now have available for the
Mm-hmm.
world in relationship to transformation and art and transformation. So yeah, excited to be here with you, grateful to have you, and just want to welcome you.
Thank you. Yeah, it does feel really special to be here after our work together. We worked together in the summertime, and now it's very much, it's the new year, it's into the winter, and it just feels special to see the way the seasons flow. Um, and yeah, it just feels special to be, someone who's been coached by you and now gets to proudly sit here and share about what I've created from that container. So super exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited to showcase you and spotlight you for the community and the listeners. And speaking of, I want to welcome in the listeners, uh, everyone who's here with us through space and time. Just want to acknowledge you and appreciate your presence. We always welcome you into the field that these podcasts are being recorded from. And as always, just want to invite you to take a couple of breaths and relax into and be resourced by the field that Jillian and I are hanging out in and recording this podcast from. So we invite you to, yeah, enjoy the conversation and the exploration, the topics and themes and territories that we traverse today. And also, we invite you to notice where we're speaking to you from and see if it invites you to connect with your being in a new way. And that, um, yeah, the intention and the invitation is for us to record this podcast from a field that's resourced with well-being and healing and generativity, creativity,
Mm-hmm.
flow, and harmony. So I want to welcome you all. Feel your presence here with us. And
Mm.
yeah, grateful to have you.
Yeah. Yeah, I really feel their presence as well. And just remembering the times that I've dropped into a Forrest Wilson Experience podcast and just felt really, really honored by, yeah, that intention to really listen from a place of openness and knowing that we're in that place as well. And we're sitting in the field and just inviting you guys to come sit in the field with us.
Yeah.
And it's a fun field. It's gonna be a good field. I can already feel the field getting a bit bigger and growing, grass growing and colors getting more vivid as we sit here, and just inviting everyone to come and be in that fun, vivid field with us.
Yeah, it gets me so curious hearing you. I mean, how is it for you as a listener to experience the podcast?
Yeah, it's super special, and I think part of that does come from our work together. getting to drop in and have a relationship outside of the podcast, as someone who you've coached, getting to kind of experience you talking to people of various backgrounds, and knowing that you're still you're the one that's facilitating this conversation as we both share and enjoy this space together right now, but really knowing you as a space holder, and then getting to hear you space hold for really interesting people, and people with very kind hearts and generous energies. Just getting to be here with you, whether I'm a listener or whether I'm on the podcast. It feels like that. It feels like a gathering.
Mm.
Yeah.
For me, I feel this certain reverberation when you say the word gathering. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like it has some juice in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think seeing podcasts not just as things that we're taking in or that we're, indoctrinating ourselves with, is a really healthy way to engage with this platform. Books, videos as well, social media, to not see yourself as just the consumer, but, like you've invited all the listeners to really enter into the field and become part of this and listen actively, whether you're driving or doing what. I've listened to this podcast before. I was picking green beans in a field. So like whatever you're doing, truly. Whatever, actually also jalapeno peppers now that I think about it. Um, but whatever you're doing to really know that this is a conversation and connection that we're having, but ultimately it's a gathering of us and who's listening. Um, so I just really feel that present, as there's so much to listen to nowadays. There's so many things to take in, and if we're not discerning, we can find ourselves consuming most of the day and creating none of the day. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today, is the creative process, being a creative person. And so I just really invite that as an intention for any listeners to, invitation of an intention to really notice ways that you can enter into the creative field, and not just consuming, whether you need to rest or whether you need to run right now, knowing that you're a part of this conversation because we're thinking of you right now.
Yeah, there's what is this experience I'm having? There's a real opening in me when you talk about the creative process, and I just get this feeling of, it's like how we give ourselves over to creativity. And I make up that you've really given yourself over to the creative flow, and and living life as a creative person. Uh, so I want to talk more about that. Yeah, I really appreciate you naming that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What came to mind when I mentioned that a few moments ago was this journal entry slash sketchbook that I did a few years ago. And at one point it said, "Excuse me, I am creating, not consuming right now." Like this very like outward kind of expressive statement to say, no, I choose to create. I choose to create. I choose to be someone who's going to create something unique, not follow the path that is well trodden, but be a unique voice, because that's how we can relate to each other inevitably, is by each of us feeling authentically expressed.
Mm.
So that was probably the biggest call for me to be a creative, follow this creative path and follow that creative spark within me, was the notion of, if I don't express myself authentically, I'm probably never going to feel good in my body, or good in a friendship, or safe in a relationship, fulfilled in a work situation. If I'm not expressing from this unique creative place, then I could pretty much just sign myself up for a different way of living in this body. And even though sometimes it's hard to choose to be creative, there's a lot of blockages that can come up, which we definitely touched on in our work together and helped clear some channels for me to be able to express even more creatively. But yeah, I always had this spark within me that sometimes is a fire and sometimes is just an ember, as Ram Dass says in that song "Sit Around the Fire." It's a great song by East Forest. That there was always some warmth in me that wanted to be creatively expressed because I wanted to feel good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, hearing you speak about our work together, it feels like a moment to invite a conversation about the work that we did together.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned some blocks that you worked through. You mentioned creative channels opening up, and yeah, what would you like to share about, or can you say more about the work we did together?
I really can. Like I definitely feel the first memory coming up is watching this video on YouTube that got, recommended in my algorithm somehow of a group of people, and you were in that group doing kind of a group podcast. And I just remember feeling kind of touched by you and found you on Instagram and inevitably reached out to you seeking that coaching container, sharing with you authentically where I was at um, in that intake form and feeling a real openness to work together. And yeah, in our work together, I could tell session one, there was a lot of crunchiness in me. And I didn't let that stop me from meeting with you because to me, you have this kind of energy where when I saw you on that video and then when I talked to you after reaching out, I I knew like, okay, if I'm gonna work with him, he's definitely gonna shift things in me. Like, am I ready for that? Am I open to that? Am I worth this experience? Am I worth this time that he's gonna offer me? Because I know he's not just gonna let my stories sit around, you know. So when we got on that first call, I was feeling crunchy for sure. And like there was blockages in me as far as tapping into that feeling good that I mentioned earlier, like actually feeling good in a business relationship. Because I had been doing creative work for the past 4 years or so, client based, freelance creative work in the realms of video editing, graphic design, social media management, and mural making. And I had a lot of, I don't want to use the word traumatic because it's not like that, but I've had a lot of uh, tough experiences with clients and way I was presenting myself in business interactions, and was coming to that first call with like that baggage. Um, but throughout our journey together and our coaching containers, and especially the prompts that you would give me at the end, kind of the homework, so to speak, of what I could reflect on. Each call had me in almost like a different season. You know, if we were like starting in the crunchy winter, the stiff, the slow, and opening up into you know, talking about what I enjoyed about what I did for work and what I didn't enjoy at all. And also, I remember second call getting into, well, why was I still doing the things that really didn't feel good? Why was I still offering, for example, social media management and graphic design when I knew that video editing was really the work that called me more in digital marketing, but I was still offering graphics and things like that. And also, if I knew what kind of clients, we're gonna act up in our client relationship, why would I take them on? You know what I mean? Why would I bring these people into my journey? So starting to question myself in a healthy way, was hard, but it really brought up what I needed. And I know that whoever's listening is probably thinking about those things that they do in their life, that they don't really like to do. It's like, we all have those memories of, yeah, I really brought that on for a lesson or something. But what you really helped me do was get clear on what I didn't want to do, and then come to the realization that I didn't have to do what I didn't want to do. I didn't have to offer what I didn't want to offer. And it took me acknowledging that, and then starting to make shifts and saying no to opportunities so that I could leave space for things that further aligned, for me to be able to be where I'm at right now, which is a lot more of an open, free, and aligned place of not just my work, but also what I'm doing in general, and like why I get up in the morning.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm curious what comes up for you as the coach, hearing those things.
Well, if anyone's on audio only, I just started clapping. I'm celebrating over here, and I'm really not doing that so much as a coach. I'm just doing that as another human.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just feeling a lot of joy hearing you and feeling you in this moment. Um, so yeah, I mean, maybe what I hear, and just to be clear for anyone listening, I'm not coaching right now. I'm just in relationship
Mm-hmm.
with Jilly, and we're hanging out. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna share what happens for me, but we're not doing coaching on this call, just so you know. Um, for anybody listening. So I will say that I, when you were speaking, I got this sense of a real permission giving. Like I kept hearing this
Mm-hmm.
word permission, and it's like I'm gonna let myself feel the way I feel. Like this is how it lands in me. My impact, my experience of it is like I'm gonna let myself feel the way I feel and honor what isn't working for me and honor what is working for me. And I'm gonna let myself enjoy my life and my work and my clients and feel good, right? You kept talking about feeling good. It's like I've certainly personally had this experience of like continuing to subject myself to things that aren't working, whether it's for the grind or for the dollar or for the hustle or for the whatever, right? There's all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
stories we can manufacture for why we continue to stay in these crunchy dynamics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just get this permission giving of like a freedom and an opening up inside myself. I feel it a lot in my rib cage. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's like an opening of just like, oh, maybe it can be simpler and maybe I can have fun and maybe I can enjoy my clients and maybe uh I can enjoy all of my life. Like maybe that experience will permeate out into more of my way of walking through the world.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I definitely feel, and remember that permission that I had to give myself. And it's not just heart opening, but in the moments, minutes, hours, days before, really allowing yourself to open to what feels good or is authentic, whatever you want to name it as. There's also a lot of darkness and shadow and things that come up, where it's like, all the things that were holding you back from letting go and giving yourself permission are like vying with you and speaking with you, and having someone there each week was very important for me in being able to let go and give myself that true permission to have myself be where I am right now. So I would say that, if it's feeling hard to do it alone, it's like you don't have to. It doesn't mean you have to get a business coach or a lifestyle coach, or like these different ways, but it for sure helps to be able to be honest with people around you, and another example, being honest with your clients. Like I remember, having, this client pursuing me, and I was feeling like, I gotta be honest and just let you know how it felt to work with you, not in a, you know, mean way or a unnecessarily cruel way, but just saying like, this is how it felt, in our interaction. And that was a really important part of me letting go into a more aligned work, is uh because it felt right for me. This may not feel right for everyone, but being honest with with past experiences. So that I remember I was just reviewing our notes from our coaching container calls, and at the end was where we just started to talk about this offering that I created. It wasn't like we were talking about it the whole time. It was like at the
Right.
end. And so
Right.
there was quite a bit of, letting go that, you saw me do throughout that whole process. Like the process of us together was really crunching through to get to that, breath of fresh air at the end that I then chose to be creative about. And
Yeah.
it took time. It wasn't just the next day for me. I had priorities in my life to choose, and it's been months since we had our coaching container, but I didn't give up on it, and for that I'm very proud of myself, and also proud of myself for being sharing about it with people. That's kind of another point I want to make is, not with everybody, not sharing just with everybody, just being open, like just a fully open gate, but actually sharing about this idea that Forrest and I generated together at the end of our coaching container, with a person that had come into the brewery I was working at the time. I shared with this customer, and he gave me this idea that kind of kickstarted even more my my offering. So um, that was another huge part of this, is just being generous with, and not being afraid to share the changes that you're making with people, whether it's to let them know how it felt in the past to work with them, or whether it's just sharing with someone, a stranger, that feels right. Kind of what light you're feeling in
Mm.
this life,
Mm.
sharing that light.
Yeah. There's so much in that that I want to like double click on and flesh out further, like unfold more together. And I'm in this moment, what I'm most present with is I've heard you say the phrase like where I am now a couple of
Mm-hmm.
times already, maybe even more than a couple. So I want to ask you about where are you now?
Yeah, what I really want to share is that I'm on a really special island. Um, just currently, I know that wasn't maybe the exact point of your question, but I'll get to that for sure. But I'm on a really precious island, off the coast of Washington State, and just really want to honor this land that I'm on, and the expansiveness of nature, and how important it is to really be um, tuned into where you are, and give gratitude. I know for it, I'm in a snowy forest, and Forest is in a tropical sacred land.
Jungle
So
beach. I'm in Costa Rica for anyone listening. I'm in the jungle on the beach. It's like two of my
right.
favorite ecosystems. And it goes into the creative process, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the relationship with nature, being in communion with the land and our environment is so much informs the the ground that we're walking on as our creative projects are coming into the world.
Yeah, like just following that holistic health path, and it really does lead us back to a simpler way of living. And that's always what I've been striving for, and it really applies to my creative process of keeping things grounded, when working in these creative realms is huge for me. um and it's been really big. I've been in a, for sure, a creative flow. Specifically in the last month, I have a art show this next month, February, and I'm really excited. So it's been really motivating me to get some really high quality pieces out there. And yeah, that's kind of where I find myself right now. Um, find myself in an open space to create. And a lot of that came from releasing that crunchiness, finally giving myself space to do something that I want. And part of that came through as this offering called Healing Visions, that combined a lot of my past experience with working with clients, on a one-on-one, very intimate level, whether it was making, videos or social media posts or murals for them. I've had a lot of experience working with people one-on-one, and I deeply enjoy that. I deeply enjoy being a safe space for someone to share. And then really activating this part of myself that is ready to create some badass, paintings, So that's kind of where I find myself right now, is honing in on these vision paintings, not just for myself, because the paintings that, for those who can see the video, the paintings that are around me right now are personal works for this show coming up. But being a visionary for others and creating other people's healing visions. So whether that's from a shamanic journey, a plant medicine journey, a therapy journey with a therapist, or just from your personal journey, that people who have visions, whether it's a spirit animal or connected to their family, connected to a place that they love, but a vision that they can describe to me in a safe container, and I'm able to turn it into a composition, a beautiful piece of artwork that is balanced and harmonious, and then is actually encoded and blessed with my care, the care of my brush. It's handmade, you know what I mean? And it gets mailed to the client when it's done, and they get to place it in their home as an altar piece to their healing journey. So because it's so specific to them, because they've shared with me so generously their a really important part of their life, whether, like I said, it's a spirit animal or their relationship with their parents, that I painted something so precious to them that they get to pray to and ask for support in those hard times, because a healing journey is not linear. It doesn't just go up from here, but something that people can really choose to create for themselves. Like, I want something that I can see in my home, that I got for myself, or that I called in, so that in those tough moments, or in those moments when I'm really praying for something big in my life, or I'm praying for the world, or I'm praying for my family, I can focus my energy on this piece of art. So that's why I'm calling it a healing vision, because it's a visual that has every intention to be a huge aspect of someone's healing journey. Yeah, and it just combines so much of what I love to do, working with people, not just being in my studio by myself, just painting whatever I want. I want to create people's visions. I want to bring people's visions into this world. And so to do this work feels like the most aligned offering that I could create. And that's why I'm so grateful to be able to be in this place. I'm grateful, and I also see how much work I've done to get here, but I'm grateful to be able to speak to this very aligned expression of my spark,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. it's beautiful, and I'm again there's so much I want to unpack here, and I also want to name that I what I'm most in love with in this moment is that we did this coaching container and you worked through what you wanted to work through and came out on the other side with clarity on this offer that you're called to give to the world. And now we've switched and I get to be your client.
Mhm.
And I did today's I think today's the 16th of January. On Christmas Eve,
17th.
17th,
17th.
17th of January, 2024. Christmas Eve 2023, about 3 weeks ago, I did a shamanic journey. And uh, I'm pretty sure that you messaged me like the next day
Mhm.
or something, and you were like, "Hey, I've launched the offer." And I exploded out of my chair when you sent this to me. I had this just overrush of, "Oh my God, we talked about this, and now you're bringing it in the world." And it feels, I remember when you however the potential of you doing healing visions manifested in our connection, I remember just the sense of this is the most Jilly thing I could
Mhm.
possibly think of. And I just, that's the moment that really gets me. It's like when we really get connected to our calling and our work in the world, there's this sense of like, that's just the most you thing that I could even fathom you being up to. And now I get to be on the receiving end of the gift that came out of our coaching work, and I'm your client. So
Mm.
now I'm going through a process with you where you've helped me unpack the shamanic journey I went on a few weeks ago. And you've begun a painting that you've sent me a couple of uh, pictures of already, the work in progress that I'm in love with. And at some point, I'll get a finished product from you whenever,
Mhm.
whenever the timing's right, that I'll have forever that I can share with people, and
Mhm.
that invites conversation about the experience that I had and keeps me connected to the moment and the journey I went on. So it's just a treasure to me, the miracle of this unfolding. My cheeks are hurting from smiling.
Yeah, I also feel that way. Mm. Yeah, it felt so special. I had been thinking about it for a few weeks before I texted you, and to hear you respond back, I just had this shamanic journey. I'm like, that's perfect, because, you know, art visuals is can be very specific, like we want to see something that relates to this world while we're still in this world. We want to see those spirit guides. We want to see something that brings us into our body, but also connects us up, connects us along the lines. I always feel that upward energy because the sky, the heavens, the stars are so expansive and mysterious. Um, but like we want to feel both like that's my spirit guide, and now it's on like in a painting,
Mm,
with that certain color that I saw in that vision, with that background that I saw. And just this process that I've created works so well with something like, you went through on Christmas Eve, where you were guided by a lovely practitioner, a shamanic journey that had you see these very, let me tell you, Forrest saw some very, very specific, powerful, detailed long list of aspects that he shared with me over a call. And basically, he said I helped him unpack it, but I just really listened to him, took notes on what these visions he saw were, and turned it into a composition where, like I said, things feel balanced so that he can remember it. And it just works so well when someone has a vision, a clear vision that they bring to me. Um, and I take everything I have in me to bless it and charge it up with love and harmony, and make it a true healing vision. So I'm super excited when the painting gets complete, which will be sooner than you think because I like to work pretty fast. Um, that you'll be able to receive that and place that in a part of your home that feels most aligned. And
mm,
I, I guarantee that there's going to be doors opened from just getting to look at it.
Yeah, once again, so many things I want to unpack here, and I'm loving this. It feels like there's quite a bit of juice in this exploration. The biggest thing I'm with in this moment is I just want to
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you because there's a specific experience that I've had in relationship with you as your client, which is that I can come with, I had this vision and there was a real sense of me of like, wow, this was so precious. Like I even get slightly shaky or emotional touching into it in this moment. And there's a something in me is like wants the specificity of like it was this way and I saw this
Mm-hmm.
thing, and I feel like you were just so open to receive the precision, right,
Mm-hmm.
of what I was articulating and really understanding what was on the left, what was on the right, what was here, what was there, and like really being available to receive me in the way I experienced my experience. And then
Mm-hmm.
also uh checking with me like, hey, Forrest, how much do you trust my creative process? And I'm like, Jilly, I am literally 10,000% in trust of your creative process. And there's just a dynamic there of I get to share so fully and honestly and earnestly, like, this is what my experience was, and this is what I want to convey and have um, received, right? And there's a way that that can happen in a way that's fully done, and it's going, okay, now here's your creative capacity and trust in your capacity to um birth a beautiful piece of art with that. And so there's a healing even in that process of getting to share and then releasing it fully and going, okay, I trust Jilly from here. Let's see what manifests.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels really important to share because it really is a dance between us. Um, but it's definitely a dance of trust. And the more that I open the space for you to share about your journey and feel fully heard, the more you'll be able to trust and open up into what you've come to me. In this case, I came to you with, with this idea, to create the painting for you. But like, you coming to me and saying, yeah, and I trust your vision, and I know that you'll give me what I need. um I think that just comes down to the right dynamic, the right amount of the right time in your life to receive a painting like this. Like, it's really something special, and it blows my mind that I messaged you at that moment. But it's like, okay, yeah, it could blow my mind that it was so aligned in that moment, but it also could just say, all right, and I welcome more of those kinds of connections, where people who are really ready to receive this kind of painting for themselves um, will know and reach out in those times. And that's kind of all I'm interested in doing, is working with that kind of alignment, because it's such a powerful process. Like, painting specifically, even more, is like, it's probably one of the most powerful and sensitive things that I practice and do, um, right, like right now so far in my life. So like, it's not really just for anyone off the street. It's got to be a right time, and I'm so glad that it was. And if it wasn't the right time, it's like, we both have to have that discernment to say, I haven't had that vision come through yet, maybe it'll come through next year. And then it comes in that moment where you really need it, and not just need it, but are gonna flourish
Mhm,
in
mhm,
the presence of the painting.
mhm,
um, Another really beautiful thing about this type of offering is it's really something for the person. Like, no matter what your vision is. Like, for example, with you, Forrest, like, you had so many beautiful moments where you talked about other people, or the collective field, and that being for sure, an essence in the painting. But like, this painting is really to suit you up, like when you're putting on your armor for the day, putting on your suit, whatever it is, like, to really like remind you who you are and what you're up to, because that will effortlessly, you know, trickle down to everyone it needs to. So I really feel honored to be able to offer something that's for a person to be able to suit themselves up and get themselves ready for all the impact that they want to have in the world. Just like reminding that this piece that, you know, you're calling in is for you. You know, it's for you to receive. Um, and I've had other clients that I've done this work with, um, share photos of their altar with the painting hanging behind it, and it just touches my heart that they're practicing in front of it, they're staring at it, they're being touched by it, and I take it so seriously, and also so, you know, so joyously to be someone that's creating this type of offering.
Yeah, so I feel inspired to speak to for folks who are listening. There's a couple of ways you can plug in here and engage with this. One is if you've had a transformational experience yourself, you've gone on a shamanic journey or a plant medicine journey, or you've been in therapy. Maybe you've gone through some kind of death rebirth process, or had an awakening of some kind, right? Maybe just a powerful meditation experience, or
Mm-hmm.
something like this, that you can reach out to Jilly and connect on the potential of having a piece of art, a healing vision, an altar piece that supports you and catalyzes you and nourishes you in your own organic evolutionary unfolding. So that's option one. And option two is you're a practitioner or a facilitator or guide or space holder,
Mm-hmm.
and you have clients, and you can reach out to Jilly and explore the potential and possibility of being in partnership in a way that you can send clients of yours to Jilly, and if they've had a powerful experience or a deep healing session, and express that they might be interested in a piece of artwork or having some sort of uh, altar piece that could be supportive of the continued unfolding of their experience, that you can also create a collaborative connection with Jilly, and be able to use her benefit to use her work to benefit yours, and have your work benefit
Mm-hmm.
hers. So I want to name at least those two, if there aren't more, as potentials here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm excited to just connect with anyone and everyone who really feels, you know, interested in my work, and whether it's someone who wants to receive a painting, or someone who has that magical expression in this world so far where they're holding space for others, and they'd like a healing vision to be a part of their work for their clients. I've already started partnering with therapists in the holistic psychotherapy realm, as well as plant medicine facilitators and meditation guides, anyone who's really holding space. It just works so perfectly to add me in as a visionary artist in their process, and really like allow the work that's being done in your life, whether it's in one of those containers I mentioned, or just something that you feel is right to have made into a piece of art, um, that you're able to receive that in a safe space, and a space that's, you know, held by me, and it just feels really special to be that person. I just thank you, Forrest, for helping me get clear on that so that I can do this work for people, because even just one painting, even it's not just about doing as many paintings as possible, but even just one painting, you know, like the painting I'm doing for you, who knows what could come from that. And I just sit in gratitude for the ability to create, and the freedom that I have to create in this life. Super grateful to be in that place, and just praying for everyone to have that ability to express that creative freedom. And I know, like, it's kind of heavy to recognize the people that are going through a lot of suffering right now in this world, and who are not so readily able to to pursue their passion in the way I am. But I just pray for, that vision. The more that we paint it, the more that we speak to it, the more that we hold each other's hands, um, and know that that vision of, people being free to express themselves, people being free to create their day without having all these, you know, inconveniences and suffering and hardship in the way. That's really what we're looking towards, with this beautiful earth that we're on. Even where she's hurting, she's so beautiful. And I just pray for everyone to be able to touch in to that creative world, that this world can be before you go on to the next, because it's obviously temporary here, in these bodies. But people like Forrest and the people listening right now, I know we're all so capable of making our world a bit freer for ourselves and freer for all those around us. So I just encourage everyone to not stop, even if you need a rest day or a rest week, or you need a moment to, that just really feels true for me as I sit in this place of creative freedom, to pray for creative freedom, for all.
Yeah, I feel impacted hearing you. It touches something in me. Like as you're speaking, Jillian, I'm getting this sense that what you're speaking about is a painting.
Mm-hmm.
This painting
Yeah.
of everyone being and living from our creative freedom, and doing that. You and I have talked about this, while not ignoring or bypassing the pain in the world and the challenges that we are going through and that folks are going through. It's not like live off in this la la land of everything's perfect or something like that, like
Like a bliss bubble,
a
like,
bliss bubble. That's a perfect way to say
yeah.
it. A bliss bubble. Yeah. Yeah, a bliss bubble. So being connected to, that we're all living in our own universe, and some universes are more challenging than others, and the journey into wholeness is an invitation to be with all that is, and all the experiences that people are having. So that is an essential part of the creative process, in my opinion, is feeling deeply everything, not just being in the bliss bubble, but really being present for and feeling all of the experience that's available in this moment.
Yeah. And all those who are standing for that. There's so many beautiful people on this earth that are, that are on this earth right now, not to mention all the people that have been on this earth, who are standing for that, even through all of this, the history of humankind and what we've happened to do here so far, all the beauty and all the suffering. There's some really amazing people right now creating, like you, Forrest. And just also shouting out my amazing mentor, in painting, Amanda Sage, for anyone who knows her and her work. Mark Henson's work comes to mind. If you want to look him up, check his work out. He paints incredible visions of the future. Just some really, really precious people that I'll link to Forrest to put in the bio, so you can not only see the work that I'm doing, but see a lot of the visionary art that, has inspired me to create, and is inspiring people visually, so they can see what a world is possible, what kind of world is possible, and also see what kind of world could happen if we don't ... There's a lot of painters specifically out there, Alex and Allison Gray, some really powerful people who are holding that space, So if that gives anyone the push through the day that they need, that we can hold each other's hands even when no one knows what to do, you
Mm.
know, that just each other's presence is enough to get to the moments where we do know what to do. Um, that's just it's just all in the realm of creativity. This is all part of it. Um, yeah, yeah, just like I really want to encourage people to check out the links in this podcast, because there's a lot of breadcrumbs to follow, as with your other guests as well, to not neglect checking out those links that are in the description of the podcasts, because I think that's really where the next, yeah, the ways to continue, these realizations we're having in this podcast are.
I'm feeling a shift in energy, Jilly. I feel like we're
Mhm.
coming to a pause. Does that feel true for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think we knocked it out of the park. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you. I'll please send me all the links that I can include in the show notes, and for any of my clients who are listening, please know that if you're interested in a painting with Jilly, I'm happy to connect the two of you through WhatsApp or email or something. I'm in both buckets. I'm now a client of Jilly's, and I'm also a partner of Jilly's in bringing my clients to you, Jilly, for transformational
Mm.
art, which just is it's just the best. It's
Hmm.
what a cool, unique gift to be able to offer and let people know, yeah, that these beautiful pieces of art are available. So thank you for being you. Thank you for having the courage to reach out, and like I am still to this day just in love with how you messaged me, and you're like, hey, this is what I sense is possible. This is what I want to do. This is the journey I
Hmm.
want to go on. What can we make work? How can this happen? And um, there's just so much go-getter, like anything's possible energy that I experience when I'm around you, and having the courage to trust in what's yours to do and seeing it through to where you are now. I can't even fathom where it's going to go from here, like where it'll be in a decade, but I'm very grateful to get to be a part of the unfolding and um, just see you shining.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. And there'll definitely be a pretty solid link I can send you where people can both, um, pursue being a partner with me with Healing Visions, and fill out a form and schedule a call to connect. And then there's also a path, where someone can follow a link that will get them where they need to go to receive a painting. So yeah, just holding so much love in this moment, really like staying staying present and like staying connected in this moment where we're sharing time together. And all those that are listening, like really holding this moment as a precious gift, because it certainly feels like that for me right now. um to just be with such a generous person that's opened up things in me and is allowing me to open up things in others. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. And thank you to all the listeners. Appreciate your presence here with us as always. Look forward to
Mm-hmm.
seeing you in the next moment. Lots of love.